Rick hit us up from Plains, Georgia, home of Jimmy Carter. He said, thoughts on Brian Kelly disrespecting Nick Saban and Alabama in front of LSU fans? I can't believe we still do this. I said it once, I'll say it again. Disrespect. I don't know what I've told you in the past is the most overused term in college football or in all of sports, but disrespect is way, way up there. Disrespect. What did Brian Kelly dare say? What did this man have the audacity to say about Nick Saban? Well, he said, speaking at a booster function or event, and get ready for this, it hasn't been edited for language. I'm just delivering what exactly he said. Here we go. Brian Kelly speaking at a touchdown club. I love the environment of a college stadium. I love coming out on that field. I love beating Alabama. It's at this point you may think to yourself, oh, there must be more. They must have a second slide. There must be more to the quote. He hasn't gotten to the disrespectful part yet. Oh, I have. I love beating Alabama. That's it, at least according to Rick. Now, in fairness to Rick, Rick was not the only person who asked me about this. In fact, if Rick was the only person to ask about it, truthfully, I would have just answered him back privately and moved on about my business. Several of you from Athens to Atmore and everywhere in between in the great state of Alabama asked me about this. Disrespect. If that's disrespect, lock me up. If that's disrespect, I say 10 things worse than that every ping pong match I play against management. Not even Colin or Jesse, against management. You should have heard me the other night. That's not disrespect. 98% of the things labeled disrespectful in sports aren't disrespect. The other 2%, I usually still don't care about. They've got the 5th best odds to win the national title this year. That's one reason Brian Kelly's confident. They are recruiting at an extremely high level. That's a reason he's confident. They are portaling at an extremely high level. They've got a quarterback room that's in as good a shape as it's been in several years post Joe Burrow. That's a reason to be confident. Oh, and by the way, the whole thing about beating Alabama and loving to do it, I think part of the reason, follow me here, this could be a stretch, for Brian Kelly saying that is because I had Stats and Info do some digging, and it turns out they beat Alabama last year. Disrespect, I know. Facts tend to be very disrespectful when they are facts that don't sit well with you. But LSU did beat Alabama last year, friends. Brian Kelly did enjoy it, and he should. And I'll tell you this is what I always love to think about. For the people who get up in arms about these little nonsense issues, I always love to think about, in this case, Nick Saban. So Nick Saban is at the very heart of Alabama football. He is the head coach and the leader of the program. If Nick Saban were to listen to that quote, he would yawn, maybe even smile, maybe even chuckle, and move on. Now that would be Nick Saban's way of processing it. But Nick Saban is not Rick. Nick Saban, I love you, Rick. I love you. There's a certain way, if you're new here, there's a certain way sometimes, since we're all just kind of family, that I will poke and prod some of you when you ask me questions. Some of you are repeat question askers, and I almost feel like I grew up with you, so I talk to you very much akin to the way I would talk to buddies if we were sitting over barbecue at lunch. Rick, this is not disrespect. I think you know that. I hope you know that. It's not disrespect. It's competition. And anytime someone claims that this sort of thing is disrespect, here's what I always ask you. What would you have had him say otherwise? This was not a press conference. This was not the ESPN car wash trip that they take every preseason. This was not SEC Media Days. This was Brian Kelly speaking to a bunch of LSU fans at an LSU Booster Club event. I have heard these head coaches speak at these events frequently. I haven't heard Kelly, or I guess I have now. I've heard Saban many times. I've heard Smart many times. I have, because of where I grew up, I've heard Auburn coaches, pick one, many times. Everybody talks like this. It's just a pep rally where you play like $40 for a plate and everyone pulls clothes out of their closet that they normally only wear to weddings or funerals, and you go and you listen to a head coach talk for a little while, and they get you all fired up, and they say some things that a lesser man would think to be bulletin board material. It's just fun. It's just the way it is. Bruce Hornsby, that's just the way it is. So, the other thing that I want to remind you, Rick, I don't know if you fit this category, but one of the things I hear more than any other thing in college football is, I hate coach speak. What do you mean? Well, I hate when coaches won't speak their mind. I hate when they use the same baseless platitudes and cliches over and over again, and they're so guarded with information, and we can't ever get authenticity out of them. That same person who claims that is the first person, when a coach actually speaks his authentic mind, to say, how dare he? The disrespect! Gasp! Get him out of here! Why? What did he say? He said he likes beating his arch rival. What else did he say? No, that's it. You thought that was disrespectful? Wait till I take you down and just walk you around the street of any major American city. Wait till I take you into any functioning, competitive environment in an office building or sports or anything in between. It's just normal stuff, man. In fact, I would call that tame. I would almost call it like Brian Kelly doing stand-up. It's not, he probably didn't even say it with a serious face. It's just something you say. It's the booster class. It's the speaking circuit. Josh Heupel's doing it right now. I have not been to one of Josh Heupel's events, but they're doing Colin, what's it called? The Tennessee speaking trip. It's like the Orange Caravan or something like that. Anyway, I guarantee you that Josh Heupel has been asked a time or two about that win over Alabama. That's the breaks, man. That's why you win the games. You win the games, you can say whatever you want to. I can virtually assure you of this. You won't hear that same phraseology from Brian Kelly when he's at the podium here in Nashville, Tennessee in a few months for SEC Media Days. But in the meantime, talk as much as you want to. That's my approach. And I'm not even a head coach. I'm just the chancellor at Pate State.